Yeah, I love to talk, film, discuss, to critique.
The box. You opened it. We came.
Yo, what's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Blood Splatter Chatter here for a terrifying double feature doing Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2 before we will be doing Terrifier 3 sometime in December. Actually, it looks like it's coming out video on demand on the 26th of November, and then the physical release for Terrifier 3 will be December 17th. So it looks like we will be able to do it the week before Christmas, but I'm excited, man. Stu's never seen this. Link, you covered this with me when we did it on DHS, right? We did the same show. We did Terrifier 1 and 2, right?
Yeah. This was an interesting rewatch. I was looking forward to it, but at the same time I wasn't,
Yeah. I feel that.
It was fun. This one was better this time around.
Good. No, that's one thing I've been curious about. You and I have both come a long ways since we first probably reviewed this back in 2022. It's only been a couple short years, but we've reviewed a metric fuck ton of horror movies since then. And Stu's, he's halfway there to his metric fuck ton. So first time watch for you, my brother. I'm very excited to see what you thought of these. I'm really curious, to be honest.
Yeah. It was a wild ride, that's for sure. But I expected it to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These movies definitely have a reputation. But
were they a little too hyped up? Because I even sent you a message. A lot of times, if we do a double feature, which I try not to do on the Thursday show too often, I notice you watch them both on Thursday before the show. Is that what you did for this?
No, I appreciate you giving me that warning to split them up, because that was good advice. I don't think going back to back on these is a tall task.
Totally, man.
So I definitely split it up across 2 different days. Yeah. That was a lot easier to digest.
Good, I'm glad. Especially because the second one, Rogue, what up, buddy? Roscoe, you son of a bitch.
Yes.
You know what, Roscoe? Roscoe, you're probably like, this fucking probably barely even know me. We did a show together, you and I, one time, Roscoe. And I've always been like, I fucking like that Roscoe guy.
Yeah, dude, I met him at Heroes. He's great people. Yeah.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. While I was watching, I actually watched both of these today. I meant to space them out, but like I said, it was almost not looking forward to this. But while I was watching these, sometimes I was struggling. But in my head, I kept thinking, I was like, you know what? This is Stu's first time, so it can't be that bad, So take solace in that, that they get a first time.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right, so I do want to just kind of pull this up right now to do a brief history of Art the Clown. I didn't realize how long that Damian Leone, the director and writer, special effects artist, producer, and the man behind Terrifier, I didn't realize how long ago he had come up with Art the Clown. So he did. Let me look it up. I've lost it. I have lost it. He did the first one. What's that? No, go ahead.
I think you're about to say the first one. That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, he did. There was 2 shorts. He did one called The Ninth Circle in 2008, which featured Art the Clown. It wasn't like a full Art the Clown thing. He comes up to some woman in I think a subway station or a bus stop, kidnaps her and takes her to some, I think, Satanists and shit. And then they did another one, Terrifier, 2011 short called Terrifier. And it's the guy on the far right of the screen, the kind of derpy looking fucking Art the Clown, obviously. And that's played by Mike Gianelli. And
that's the 2008 one.
Yeah. And then he also, I think it was the same exact guy, might be a slightly different look than what you're seeing on screen there. But he did the first feature length film that Damian Leone did with Art the Clown, which is All Hallows Eve, which I checked out for the first time this week. I would say, depending on how big of an Art the Clown fan you are, you can steer clear of it. But if you're curious, it's almost like it kind of is an anthology story, but it's really low budget, even more low budget than these. It's terrible acting, but the bits when Art is in it are pretty gnarly, and especially at the end, it's like, you know, you can see the potential.
And so is Art? So what's Art like in that one? Being played by another guy.
Yeah,
is
I mean, he's pretty
same
much
type of deal.
It's, you know, I mean, you could look at instantly, you're gonna see he doesn't have the same like facial expressions that David Howard Thornton does, the new guy. It's not as cool. He's not doing the smiles. He's not mocking people nearly as much. He's almost kind of like mean mugging people and just staring you down and just being more typical. You know what I mean? But the look is almost the, you know, it's the same. You could see it obviously black and white, more of a mime than a clown, but it's not nearly as good as David Howard Thornton.
Yeah, David's got definitely way more an expressive, you know, emotiveness to his face, you know, when he's doing shit.
I mean, that's the biggest thing I think about Ark the Clown is like he's making fun of people while he's killing them. Like his facial expression and shit is so sick and demented.
Even he like when he goes out at the very end of 2, she's about to whack his head off, and he's like, you know, he like makes that jump at her and makes that face. It's hilarious.
I love it
to the very end. Yeah,
all those things. Like when what my favorite, 2 of my favorite moments, both of them happen in part 2, when he's explaining to the little pale girl that he meets the first time, and she's fucking around with his eye, and he's like that just cracks me up. And then after the bedroom kill, which we'll get to when we talk about part 2, the crazy fucking kill in part 2, and the mom walks in, and he's like, I know, right? He's like looking at the body. He's like, this is crazy. There's just something about it. It's like you gotta be a sick, twisted fuck.
Yo, this is such a random idea. I had to throw it out there before I lose it, but it's for 2. But the little Phantom girl or whatever, Art girl,
little pale girl, yeah.
I didn't realize, like, I mean, based on my second watch, I didn't realize like that was the sister from the first one. How she's in the institution in the second one.
Oh,
that was like her mental.
Yeah, you're talking about the chick with her face ripped off.
Yeah.
At the end, I didn't put all this together perfectly either. I kind of did a lot of research. Just there's certain things in this franchise. It's like, wait, what the fuck? Hold on. So I tried to put that all together as much as I could. But yeah, that's at the end of Terrifier 1. He's like, right before he kills himself, spoiler alert, he's eating that victim's face, the sister.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Yeah. I didn't quite put it all together. It's a little bit confusing. Like the girl that's getting interviewed and all, like that's her, right? Yeah, that's what we're talking about at the beginning and end of part 2 and part 1, I guess, end of it.
Yes.
I did want to, before we get into it, this is the part of the show where I'm going to show people what we're going to be covering on the shows that Stu's not here, and Stu's going to get mad at us. So let's go ahead and pull it up now. This Sunday, we're going to be getting together talking about episodes 1 through 3.
I recommended this one to you, you son of a bitch.
Hey, man, you got to be more available, brother.
I've done 4 shows this week. 4 shows in a row. I got to be more available. All right,
Stu, do you think that Verno can watch these without seeing the movies? Like, do you think that'll be a?
I don't. To be honest, brother, I do not know because I haven't seen them yet. I haven't even seen Creep 2. I just loved him. I just loved the first one. And
okay.
I love Duplass, and I know he has a heavy hand in this one. And it sounds like a cool premise. Like each episode is a different. You know how he had the collection of videotapes is like a different videotape, and so that sounded cool to me. Yeah, but it just dropped on Shudder, and Duplass is behind it, so I wanted to check it out. So
hell yeah, I watched the first episode. There's 2 episodes out right now, and they're dropping a new one every Friday. I'm not sure how many episodes are in the season, but Lynk and I are going to get together again on Sunday afternoon and talk episodes 1 through 3. Stu, if you want to pop in that little room that you popped in, your little office, there, sure, man. Give us a shout, man. Give us a shout.
Appreciate the consolation prize.
Roscoe's saying, I've been getting more and more into horror as I get older. To be honest, I can't believe that I'm into Terrifier. I feel that so much, bro.
I feel that too.
So much. And then next week, right? This might piss off Stu too. I don't know. Don't know what you're into. Link, this is nothing that we just talked about doing. It's actually the exact opposite of what we talked about doing. Because I said, let's avoid double feature. But then I'm looking at the rest of the year and we want to get these movies in. This one just dropped video on demand as well. So fuck it, bro. Let's do Smile 1 and 2.
Nice. Okay. I'm down. I've been wanting to see 2, and I need to revisit 1. Like to kind of pick up what Roscoe was saying. I feel like in the last, I said 2 years and maybe year and a half. My 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 take, I guess, on horror has really changed. Like, that's why, like, when I saw Terrifier 2 2 years ago, bro, I couldn't stand that shit. It was difficult to get through. This one, I was like, okay, like it was just interesting how those views have changed. I
Totally.
mean, I know it changes, but it's crazy. I never saw myself becoming like a horror fan.
Well, it's funny because in some ways, like you become a lot more lenient and more forgiving, right, of horror tropes and just repetitive shit. But then there's other ways where you become more critical of certain
Yes.
things. You know what I mean? Like especially like the more mainstream stuff. I'm more aware now why people don't like, let's use Black Phone again or things like that. The more it's easier to kind of
Very
get it.
safe.
Yeah, on the other side of the coin, though, that's what I love about the genre is like the artistic risks and ambition. Like people
Right.
are, well, you know what I mean? Like you
And
get so many surprises every year, I feel like, from horror. So
my man Roscoe is saying he's got the dude from The League
Dun,
and
dun,
Creep. I gotta check those
dun,
out. But yeah,
dun,
like I
dun.
said, that's kind of my plan, is to not check them out before this review, to kind of have that perspective. We got one person
No,
that's seen the movies and one person that hasn't seen the movies. But let's go ahead and do it, guys. Let us get into Terrifier 1 from 2016. Again, Damian Leone, the man behind it all, director, writer, producer, special effects guy. That's what's, like, to me, the most impressive thing, especially in part one, since the story is pretty bad and there's nothing to write home about as far as the writing goes. But probably the biggest thing, other than introducing Art the Clown to the masses, is looking at what he did with this budget. It's a $35,000 to $55,000 budget, and it didn't like do crazy numbers like Terrifier 2 and Terrifier 3 have. It only made $421,000, but that's a fantastic return on the budget. But it's been on DVD, it's been on Blu-ray, there's a VHS of this thing, there's toys, there's t-shirts. Like, he made his money, I'm sure, off of this movie.
Yeah, this allowed him to be a professional, right? Like, this is the one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you look at it, it was a 6-year wait between this one and Terrifier 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
This 2016 and 2022. And I'm listening to the commentary, and he's talking about in between. Damian Leone is talking about the time in between 1 and 2. He's just casually talking about, like, yeah, I'm delivering flowers for this place and blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh shit. So he was out there taking on jobs delivering flowers, which is kind of hilarious.
I think it was the pandemic, like that had a lot of shift of focus towards, like, horror films have always been a little easier, return on interest compared to the budget they spent on them. And we saw, like, a lot of horror movies come out in the last couple of, the last 4 years. And, I think he utilized that, especially if you show the first movie, that's a great example. They're like, oh, hell yeah, we're going to give you a budget for a second one.
Right.
We know we're probably going to get a return.
Right. Yeah. They probably had no idea they were going to get, like, as much story as they get in the second one.
So which is the one that really blew him up, though? Was it 1 or 2? Like, because I remember one the name, like the brand name Terrifier getting tossed around heavy. I just don't remember what movie it was attached to.
I think it was 2. I think 1 put him on the map and 2 blew it. He's so fucking memeable and gifable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've got him with the eyes and he's so set up for that. I'm really curious how conscious they were of that in 2022, like, or 2021, whenever they made the movie. Like, were they thinking of that? Is that something people take into account now when they're making movies? Because they should,
I could see him doing that. I could, what's crazy is, like, my first view, and I didn't see, like, this was like kind of a homage to, like, 80s slashers, like, for this generation, like, and I pick up on that in my first viewings, and I respected that a lot more now. But for him to have, like, homage that and put his own twist on it, I could see him understanding the culture of today, and making iconic shots and shit for memes and stuff like that, the meme culture.
Totally. Thanks for popping in, Roscoe. Appreciate you, brother. Saying he's excited to see Jack Nicholson's son in Smile too.
Yeah.
So am I, man. Yeah. I've just seen the image of him doing the smile, and it's like, yeah, that's Jack Nicholson's kid.
Him and the dude who played Solo kind of look like each other in the Han Solo movie. Alden.
Yeah. I could totally see that. Yeah. I haven't seen him since Solo, by the way. What up,
That was such an
Chill?
underrated movie.
You old son of a
Chill,
bitch. He
what's the
says,
deal?
Station, everyone, is Art you guys' favorite clown? I thought I was. Oh, waka, waka, waka. I still got to go
Homie might
Pennywise.
take that spot, bro. But you know, Art's up there.
Who'd you
I
say?
saw
Pennywise?
a great comment on one of the YouTube videos. Art makes Pennywise look like a Disney, like a Disney villain or something like
That's
that.
what the slogan for Terrifier 1 is, makes Pennywise look like Krusty. That's what
Oh, really?
I kept thinking like throughout this movie, like just if like Jason and fucking Freddy happened to see Art come across Art doing his thing, they just be in awe, like because he's like a mixture of them. Like you know, he's silent like Jason and shit, but he's a like you said, he makes fun of his victims. Like he doesn't say shit, but in a way he's shit talking the way Freddy does.
Totally.
You know, it's very animated and
It's
antagonistic.
even like Michael Myers. Remember we talked a long time ago. I ended up making a short about it that did really good. But like Michael, you don't think of him, but he's a prankster. Michael Myers is a fucking jokester. He was the first one back in the original Halloween to set the bodies up where they came falling out. And he's the one he put the sheet on with the glasses, and you know what I mean? And then in 2018, which you saw recently, Stu, he fucking cuts this cop's head off and he sticks a flashlight inside of it, makes a jack-o'-lantern out of his head.
That was pretty
like
dope.
he takes the teeth and he drops them down. Like you don't think of Michael as doing that, but yeah, Michael is going around and fucking with people.
Yeah,
but he's got no sense of humor. Art does that, but he does have the sense of humor. He's like, he knows that he's doing it. He's like,
yeah, like killing homegirl's mom and making her head the Halloween candy bowl was like one of my favorite moments. I love that. It's just fake blood. It's sticky. Why is mine sticky? Like it was so great, man.
And I love when people like catch Art doing shit. He's just like he just lets him soak it in for a minute, you know. He doesn't get up and chase him right away. He's like, yeah, take it in, bask in the ambiance.
That's another thing is like you're not gonna see any of the other people out in public. Well, I guess that's not necessarily true. Michael, in the first one at least, he's out in public, kind of walking around because it's Halloween day. But you're not seeing like Freddy or Chucky and Jason. Well, I guess fuck, Jason does it in Manhattan. But for the most part, it's kind of unique. It's kind of unique to Art to be out walking around and interacting with people, not killing them. Like in this movie, he's kind of like he just stalks them for a while, which I guess is what Michael does, but in a very different way, like in a more Art the Clowny kind of way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very
He's
creepy.
literally just like walking down the street when you first run into him.
It's a big ass sack of fucking
big ass sack of murder tools.
And that's old too. That's in the old the shorts and All Hallows Eve. He's got the sack, and all of them take place on Halloween, which is we'll talk more about the lore. I want to kind of break down what we know from these two movies when we get into two. And part of this, I'll say for people joining, none of us have seen part 3. So we may run the risk of sounding a little bit ignorant when we talk about the lore and some things, but also don't spoil part 3, which is a weird thing to say for a slasher. Again, we'll get into that more in 2, but no matter what you think of the movie, it's like it's created more lore and like there's more to kind of dig into and talk about in part 2 than there is the majority of normal slashers. So
yeah. I almost ache in it. It's nowhere near in the echelon of these movies, but I like to look at it as like a Terminator 2, where like Terminator 1 was very raw. You know, there was some stuff there, but Terminator 2 comes around. You know, it's fucking this epic fucking dystopian sci-fi movie. Not really the same thing with Terrifier 2, but they definitely dug into like, you know, because there's some weird things in Terrifier 1, to be honest, where it's like, because we see him putting on the costume at the very beginning, like painting his face and shit. But it made it seem like he was just a regular dude. You don't really find out he's kind of like supernatural until the very end. Maybe even like I think it was like the after credit scene when he's in the morgue and shit. But you know, that was weird, like because we never see Art outside of his makeup ever again, you know, and it made me, I was wondering why they put that bit in if he's just essentially this like clown demon.
That is a good point. And the way I look at it is he like resurrects. I like in the second one when he goes to the laundromat and he cleans up, I just assume that's what he does all throughout his past, be it how thousands of years, maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
But he kills people, he resurrects or reincarnates or whatever, and then he cleans up, gets washed
Goes
up,
about his-
and goes out again, gets his garbage bag, and fucking has it. What up, Kenneth Bird, you old son of a
Kenneth,
bitch?
what up?
What up, buddy?
Sal, what up?
Sal, Rogue, appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate you being here. So yeah, overall, I know we've been kind of touching on it, but just how was the rewatch for you? Like,
it was good. I gotta, because my whole time I was just sitting there kind of thinking like, shit, man. I remember just like, how long is this shit? It's so brutal, man. Like, it's just crazy how desensitized I've become to that stuff. But it was fine. I remember liking the first one a little bit more than the second one.
yeah. Well, I'm
just
talking
because I feel like
specifically
the
about.
first. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was just saying I'm talking specifically about part one for your thoughts. But go on. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh no! I felt like it was more of it knew what it wanted to be. But no, the rewatch was fine. I think my views have changed a little bit, but it's still kind of in the same. I say this: when I first saw it, it was Second time I saw it, it was like meh. This time it's alright. It was alright.
That's how we should do all reviews should have that. All right, it's time for the rating. All right, well, Stu, first time watch for you again. Just talking 2016. What was your thoughts, bro?
It was about on par with what I thought it would be. You know what I mean? The story was definitely at least in one. We're just talking strictly one, or
yeah.
The story was definitely weaker than I thought it would be. I don't know. I thought it would. I don't know. I just, given all the legendary lore that this movie has already kind of garnered, I thought it would be a little bit more of a complete piece of art. I thought 2 was better in a lot of ways, but still 1 did some great things, establishing art, and had some great memorable kills that, like you said, put it on the map. So
right.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think this was probably my third time watching part 1, and it might have been it probably is. It was definitely the most that I've ever enjoyed it. Just kind of appreciating it for what it was. There's moments towards the end where like I'm losing my interest, and then it comes back. It's in and out. The acting. What'd you guys think of the acting? It's pretty bad, right?
Yeah.
Like there's nothing to but it's inconsistent. Like some of them, it's like, oh, that's not too bad. But then it's like the janitor guy that's dressed up as Michael Myers in a way. Like he's terrible. And like even some of the cinematography, really, really good. Some of the lighting, really, really good. And then at times it's like it looks like shit. So
it's very dark in the first film.
The morgue scene was rough with all the
those they were terrible.
And it looked like, bro, who's like that looked like a boiler. It looked like a boiler room that they're in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was, but I don't know. I do think both of the main final girls, so to speak, and both 1 and 2 were solidly cast, though. Sal was saying that the homegirl in 1 looked like a young Nev Campbell. I was hoping she would have stuck around a longer too. She was the only one who was acting realistically to the situation. Like her girlfriend was way over the top.
That fucked me up when she got killed, like that switch around, because I was like, no, man, she was doing so good, like how she was like responding, like she was like accordingly, I was like, bro, that's how you're gonna treat a smart real final girl, I was
it kind of. I had forgotten, like I said, this is my third fucking time watching this. I had forgotten that she dies when she does, and I was like, like it really got me. I was like, oh shit! And it was
the gun, like. What do you guys think about? What do you guys think about him using the gun? Like that's definitely. You think he's just going to be your typical slasher with a bag full of blades, and he pulls out.
I think
I liked it.
That's the biggest. It's so funny, but like it's almost treated like a plot twist in the movie. You know what I mean? It's the biggest like story moment. It's like, oh shit, he uses guns, which I can see like some people don't like. Like, what do you mean? But I'm like, fuck yeah. Like this is a different
it's a modern,
He's more aware. It's like
he
he texts at one point, he gets their phone, he texts them things. Like you wouldn't see all those other villains do that we mentioned earlier.
Jason would just like stare at the shit, like I like I like when he shot her, he like turned around and did like a John Woo fucking pose and shit.
Those scenes there, like when he's in that chase scene, that's when like the look of the movie, those are my favorite bits visually. Like something like the blue lighting in that garage and when they're sneaking around. I learned something today that was pretty exciting, man. I did not know this. The crazy lady that we meet in part 1. Super weird. Like, my baby, is
Oh, the
there
homeless.
no mercy in you? It's fucking crazy. He ends up ripping her fucking breastises off and wearing them. I forgot about that bit too. I wasn't prepared for
Did y'all feel like that was a Buffalo Bill homage?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Well, I just think he's going for he's trying to push the envelope. He's trying to do super like just crazy shit. Like, what kind of movie is gonna do that? You're gonna rip someone's breasts off and walk around in them? Like, they would talk about that in Silence of the Lambs. Like, oh, he does this, or you might see like a glimpse of it, but they take it so much further. But what I learned and what I wanted to say, the little pale girl that we meet in part 2, I never knew the connection to her. Her mom is the crazy lady in part 1. I never knew that. She calls her, evidently the little pale girl we meet in part 2, her name is Emily. You see that in a newspaper clip. And the crazy lady in part 1 calls the baby Emily. And then there's at one point you see that baby doll with the little pale girl in part 2, just to like kind of solidify it. But cool. I thought that was, because it's one like weird thing about part 1. It's another like confusing thing about part 2. And it's nice of him to kind of tie that together.
But I like the world building and like the mythology building that they do in part 2.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, it's like I have a love-hate, not to get too far here, but I have a love-hate relationship with the mythology building in 2, because it's almost like too much, but it's like at the same time I like it because it was almost lackluster in part 1.
Yeah.
But there's just like, I swear that we'll get to it, but it's like we have like 45 minutes left in part 2, and I'm just like,
I know.
I have to get to that,
Well, even like when I'm trying to think of, there's some scene in part 2, and I know we're jumping
the whole
around.
like drunk at the club, like, oh, textures, come feel these textures with me. Like, give me a break, man.
I get that. I love it. Honestly, I totally get everything about it. What I was gonna say in part 2, at the point where we meet her friends, you know what I mean? We meet her 2 friends and they're at high school. That happens. It's like 36 minutes into the movie. That's like, how many times have we seen that scene where, oh, these are our group of people that are going to die. They're at high school. That happens within the first 15 minutes for sure, if not even sooner. Like everything was just pushed a little bit, but I don't know. And I guess I'll probably have to repeat myself when we get to part 2. It's way too long and there's way too many scenes and you could probably cut some of it, but there's none of it that now at this point in my fucking life, there's none of it that I don't like for whatever reason. Like even the club scene, I've heard a lot of people say they don't like the club bits in it, but I don't mind any of it. I just like I don't know. I enjoy it.
No, that's why it's so weird, because I say I have a love-hate with it, because it's like I know it's too long and not necessary, but it's like I don't hate it, I'm like, I'm just like, time constraint wise, like, come on guys, we could have like exacerbated this process a little bit, but it is, it's such a, we'll get to it. Well, I'll save that for 2. I was about to dive into it.
All right. Well, I don't think there's much more to get into in part 1. Let's just go ahead and rate this thing. If you got anything else you want to throw in there, obviously get to it. This comment's been sitting there forever and I never fucking mentioned it, but Sal saying the people that just acted extremely stupid, so they were easy prey for art. Typical slasher movie there.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm throwing this right now, but did you guys notice how deep Tara's voice was? That was that was an you know what I mean? It's like one of those things you realize, like, oh yeah, in like a bigger budget movie, they would just put it, no, next actress,
voice actor.
But there's just little things like it's a shame, little subtle things like that, or would hold her back from being a bigger star, probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh no, I was gonna ask, did you guys have like a what's your favorite? Because there's some great kills throughout both of these films, but what's your favorite one in part 1?
Stu Daddy.
It's got to be the one that made it, right? Like the uncovering her upside down on the wheel and splitting her in half. I was like, are they really going to go? Like, are they really going to go? There you go, man. It's just, it's iconic. And I think that's the one you got to point to.
You know what's crazy about that is that I think that this movie Bonesaw Tomahawk came out in 2016 as well. And they have a same kill as that, you know? And like, I was talking to you about this before, is about like when different movies will have like the same idea, like Just Friends or Friends with Benefits, or like, You know, you had Marvel, it was doing Blackest Night, but you know, or DC is doing Blackest Night, but Marvel was doing something with like Necrosha, like both zombie coming back with, you know, like there's that synergy there for competition. But I just thought that was interesting that, you know, because horror is such a niche thing at times that especially these types of kills, I've not really seen these types of kills in too many other movies, that they both came out in 2016.
I'm kind of
I
surprised
just
there
wanted to say,
hasn't been especially after the money that Terrifier 2 made. I can't
right.
believe there hasn't been more movies like this that are
Yeah,
focused on crazy kills. Like there's
yeah.
there's not many comparable, which is the thing that the reason why it's such a popular series is the kills. Like
Yeah.
obviously,
And
like, it's weird that there's not more movies. Like there's like not another one that you can compare to either of these that's like that goes that fucking hard with the kills and keeps it pretty serious. Like
and it's like
Hatchet's comparable, but that's a horror comedy, so it's different. But sorry,
it's
Yeah,
no, you're
yeah.
good. It's art and his aloofness that made it to me, because it's like you're watching this truly like horrendous, gruesome thing take place, and you can't help but have a smirk on your face because he's like,
Because
you know,
he's
it is like, yeah, the whole way he's like moving his body, his physical comedy with it, it's just like, wow, you're like, man, this is bonkers. And the practical effects, dude, the practical effects just work. They come through in every scene. Like they ride that wave so well. Is it I forget. I think it's in number 2. Well, when he buys the horn, that scene where he buys the horn when he's at the shop.
Yeah.
Man, and like you know, he beheads dude and his eyeballs still moving like while he's cutting his, like it just
it's kind of like it looks unique too. Like there's something different about like the look of his like heads that he makes. Yeah, there's just something that's a little bit different. You can tell like that.
I didn't know that until you said that on the stream. Like I knew he was writer director. I didn't know he was the visual effects dude as well. Like that definitely bolstered up. That gave it some brownie points for my overall
like
score.
His background is in that, right, Vern?
You know what? I'm not really sure. I just looked into. I thought it was interesting. I was like, oh, let's get a little background on Damian Leone. And the only thing that I found in his past, on a quick fucking Wikipedia search, was that he's from a place called Great Kills in Staten Island, New York. It's like fucking hell. And then he's known for great kills. You get the fuck out of here. That's so weird.
Life imitates art.
Yo, I just want to say on Stu's favorite kill real quick, like, you know, it was a great kill, but I just want to speak about how unrealistic it was. You know, like we all know that it's not that easy to cut through bone with a.
Bro got through that joint quick. I was like, he got to the sternum. I was like, oh, it's gonna take some time here. He just got faster. He just picked up the pace. I was like, oh, all right.
And it's a rusty ass hacksaw too. He picks up like the rustiest one he could find. One thing I saw in an interview, they asked if like is art. Basically, David Howard Thornton says he thinks of art as being asexual, that none of this is about sex. And then after hearing that, I noticed the way he rips her panties off before he does that. First of all, there's just something, it's so weird that makes it worse. Like we know he could cut through her panties, but the fact that we know that it's just right there, right on the skin or whatever, like something's way worse about that. But what I wanted to comment on is he rips it off and then he does this subtle little like eyebrow raise, which like, that doesn't seem so fucking asexual, art. So like I don't know, there was something a little bit more disturbing about that too, and just the fact that the girl's tied up when he's doing it. What up, Alex? Appreciate you hopping in, brother. Appreciate you being here. Horror comedy for sure. It is a horror comedy, but different. You know what I mean? Like Steph, you've seen Hatchet, like you know, Shaun of the Dead, things like that. Like I don't think of this as a horror comedy. I think this is a horror that has comedic elements, but even when it's funny, it's not like it's like, oh fuck. It's never like waka waka funny like you would have in like a straight horror comedy.
Like even, you know, like Freddy, I wouldn't say is a horror comedy. Like Freddy does some funny shit sometimes, but I wouldn't call it a horror comedy.
Chucky,
you know, like,
Chucky, Bride of Chucky isn't a horror. Bride of Chucky maybe is a little bit more of a horror comedy, but man, I don't know. Maybe that one is. Yeah. But Christina Payne, what up? Appreciate you being here. Hey everyone. Remember to slash that thumbs up. Appreciate that. I always forget to say that, but yeah, hit that like button, slash that like button.
Another favorite kill, the exterminator buddy or whatever who came back and got his
He
got the
fucked
head, we
him
got
up,
the
bro.
head down, and then the beheading. Man, that one was beautiful, and just like the look of the eyes on the head,
Totally.
fantastic, man.
That's funny because
Yeah.
at that moment, what I was thinking, this is literally what I'm thinking when I'm watching it. I'm like, okay, so all of the main cast is gone. And first, so what we have now is this guy that we bumped into, this janitor that called a random guy, and now he's showed up. And it's like, I'm like, this is just a pointless fucking let's get in another kill. And then the kill happens. I'm like, all right, I get it. I fucking get it.
was
It's kind of worth
fantastic.
it.
Yeah, he ripped off the head and just threw it on the ground, like kicked that joint. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I gotta say that was my favorite kill, just because I was like, it was already fucked up that he was like, yoink, but then he starts sawing it too. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
art really knows how to dig in, pun intended.
You guys in the chat, what's your favorite art kill of all time? And I'll tell you what, even if you've seen part 3, because I don't give a fuck, you're not going to spoil a kill. If your favorite one is part 3, put it down in the comments below. The other thing I wanted to give a shout out to is when he hits that dude's fucking hand, or he chops his hand off with the axe or whatever.
Yeah.
The pizza guy. That's like the first like real bit of brutality I think we see after he gets kicked out and he's smearing the shit on the fucking wall.
The shit on the bathroom was pretty brutal. But
in All Hallows Eve, when you first meet him, he's being kicked out of a gas station. Like, get the fuck out of here, smearing shit on my fucking wall. Yeah, we never see it. So like, all right, let's show it to him in this movie.
I respect that, because that's kind of like John Wick, because I always love that about John Wick, because you heard about this he killed him with a fucking pencil, and then you see how he fucking kills him with a pencil. So I like shit like that, like set up like that, that's dope.
Yeah, hell yeah. Let's rate this bad boy if you guys are ready to do so. What you giving it, Steph, out of 5? And then you guys in the chat too, what is your rating out of 5 for Terrifier 1?
I will give this. It's still not really my movie. Like, this is still a kind of it was entertaining, but it's still kind of, it's so brutal, bro. And I get that's the aim of that, but it's not for me. So still kind of a task to get through. But that being said, it was still a lot of fun. 2 was funner this time, but I'll give this one a solid 3.25.
I love it.
You're
just above Sale there. Give it a 3.
Like I said, the fact that I found Damian Leone did the effects, like, gave it a little boost. I was like, this is his vision, and I got to respect him for going for it.
This is like the perfect example of a movie that, like, if you didn't know the budget, if you just thought this was a regular Hollywood movie, you'd be like, this is garbage other than the kills and art.
Right.
But I forgive every bit of it. I think even watching All Hallows Eve before it made me appreciate Terrifier 1 a little bit more, just to kind of be able to see the evolution. And like the actors in the first one are fucking terrible, and they make these actors look a lot better. So there's definitely that. Yeah. But a 3.25 from the missing link. Where you at on it, Stu?
I'm gonna go 3.5. Great practical effects. Just a garbage story, really rough story. Some bad overacting, but really great practical effects. A work of love, obviously, from Leone, and establishing one of the best modern day iconic villains, right? You know what I mean? Like, we haven't had one come along in quite a while. But
who's the last one? You guys in the chat help out too. Who the fuck is the last horror villain? There's Hatchet, but he's not on this mainstream level. Like, Stu, do you know who Victor Crowley is?
Like the night, like, I don't even consider Saw.
Gotta be Ghostface for me, I would say.
I feel like Leprechaun or some Candyman in the 90s, maybe. But like, I don't. Maybe it's been like 30 years, since we've had a truly iconic horror.
Why not Jigsaw? Why wouldn't you count Jigsaw?
Okay, maybe the doll I would consider a horror icon. That doll, yes. Okay, that's fair. But with the character, the actor who plays him, I don't associate him with the icon, even though he is, but I don't know.
He's not. Like, you're not seeing him on the posters. Like, if they're making a horror icon thing, it's going to be the little fucker in the tricycle. When you can tell, I don't know that franchise because I'm not even sure who the fuck Jigsaw is. Is Jigsaw the guy?
What is his name?
I don't know.
I think it's got to be Ghostface. Scream for me. Yeah.
Would be the last
fuck yes.
Sure.
I think would be like I mean, I would agree with Saw. I definitely think Saw, but like if I'm thinking about iconic slasher villains, yeah, I think so.
I'm thinking of ones because Hatchet would be another one if you're in horror circles.
I gotta watch.
I didn't hear what you said. Do you know who? Do you have do you even have the picture in your head of what he looks like, Stu?
I do not, bro.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like he's not entered the public consciousness the way that Art the Clown has, and I think it's been since Jigsaw. And if you're looking at just slasher villains, you're right. It's Ghostface and Candyman and Leprechaun before that. It's kind of fucking wild to look. And we've done, we did these top 10 shows. Lynk, we did the 2000s. Stu, we did the 2010s. And we talked about it in those shows. Like, there's just not the horror icons that there was. There's different kind of icons. There's Final Girls, and there's like Patrick Bateman, I guess, is another one, American Psycho. But it's just like, I don't know, it's a little bit different.
Even that has been 20 years. You know, like it.
I am gonna give this thing. I've honestly been back and forth. I want to say I gave it like a 3.5 the first time I saw it, and I was at like a 3.5 the most of it. I can't even remember the specific reasons why, but by the end of the movie, I was around a 4. But I'm gonna tone it down. I'm gonna give it a 3.75. So we got a 3.25 from Lynk, 3.5 from Stu, and a 3.2 or 7.5 for me. I wanted to mention before we go to part 2. The radio bit. I love that bit. I think it's really cool. The girl's sitting in the car and she's hearing like there's a man on the loose wearing a clown costume. She has a garbage bag and he just killed 2 people at a pizzeria. And she's like, that's the pizzeria we were just at. And then he's in the fucking car. Like I really love that bit. Such a surreal little thing.
I like the making jack-o'-lantern out of Homeboy's head too. The little Halloween homage as well. That was dope.
Totally. What?
Yeah.
That's part 2, but that's okay.
Oh, it is? Okay.
They all blend together, brother. Chill saying Candyman, my number 1. I wanted to read this out loud because when he kills the dude at the morgue and puts his eye in his own socket.
Oh, yeah. That's how he gets that.
Yeah. I love that so much. When he eats his brain, too, I believe. We got a 2.69 out of 5 from Rogue Collecting. My man Alex Washbrook gives it a 4 out of 5. Love the kills. First full-length feature art, and I agree. About Watched All Hallows Eve boosts it from a 3.5 to a 4. Art so iconic. I don't know. I'm kind of with you. I'm tempted to give it a 4, but I'll keep it at a 3.75 for me.
Do you know the story on his design? Is that all Leone as well?
You know, I have no idea, brother. I didn't see anything on that. I would assume it is, since I would assume when he made the first short, he was almost the only person really doing it, damn near on the writing end and the creative part of it. But I'm just guessing.
I mean, people vote like this. Not everyone, but there's like a big fear of clowns, or like clowns are creepy for whatever reason. I've never understood that creepiness factor with clowns, but they can be, like Joker, fucking It.
There's part of me that wants to be like, no, clowns aren't scary, but in all reality, I think Pennywise is like still the scariest like horror icon to me, and Art the Clown is definitely for me the scariest slasher. I don't know what it is. Art like kind of fucking freaks me out. There's a part in part 2, which we'll go ahead and get into now. But there's a part in part 2. I think the very scariest part of the first 2 movies for me is when he's chasing Jonathan, the little brother. It's not even like super memorable. There's just something about it. When he walks in, he sees his mom and Art's shoving fucking mashed potatoes in her busted up face. And there's something really scary about that moment. But you guys want to play a little game for part 2? I've put together just a teeny tiny little fucking game. I got to make sure I even know the order of this. I'm not sure if I do, but let's do a death order thing. This is this is everybody that is killed in Terrifier 2. That's a weird way to say it. Terrifier 2. So do you guys know? Like, let's try to go through. I guess obviously I'm not gonna be able to play since I'm the one to put it together, but Lincoln's too. Try to go through in which order do these people die? And this isn't, I will say, I apologize. They didn't have the clearest images. This is a pretty low budget kind of thing.
All right.
That bald guy.
Yep. Number 1 is bald guy at the laundromat, right?
Almost.
Yeah. Oh, yellow guy in the yellow shirt.
Is it a yellow shirt up there? It's where's he at on here?
On the far right.
Top right. Yes, that's the coroner. He's the
okay. So him, then bald guy.
I thought he got killed at the end of the first one. Oh, that's right. He was still worming around on the floor.
He's got a good point. Sal's got a great point. Mithrigan Mathregan's
I-
probably the
I
newest
see-
horror icon.
I don't think she's reached it yet. Like, I think because the movie was so like, I remember thinking Megan looked cool, but when I saw the movie, I was kind of like let down.
Yeah, it's a no. I'm
That
gonna say
marketing
no.
made her. She's iconic though. Like everyone knows her. That's kind of what
Yeah.
I'm saying. She's,
Yeah.
everyone kind of knows.
All right. Iconic is a strong term. We can't just throw that around loosely. I
All right.
wouldn't.
It's true. It's true. She's very well known. She's super recognizable. Like if you
Yeah.
walk up to most people on the streets, even if I walked up to most people and I started doing that fucking dance, they'd be like, Megan. You know what
It's
I mean?
the dance, though. It's that movement. It's not her visuals. It's even though she doesn't have a good look, but she's got potential. Though I will say she's got potential to be iconic in the future.
Totally.
Yep.
Totally. All right. So to jump back, the first kill is the coroner.
Corner, then
And
bald
then-
dude.
Then
The
bald
bald
dude.
dude.
That's
Right.
correct.
We got the black dude. The only black dude in the movie. Then we got the friend. That's who's the best killing too. Where she gets the salt and bleach and her mom.
Yeah, that was brutal, bro.
That's the most fucking iconic scene
Yeah.
so far in the franchise. In these first two, that's the one that is the hardest to fucking watch, and it's just like, oh my god,
That man, I
She-
love how he left and searched the house for supplies and came back.
He came back, and she's still
Came
like,
back
bro.
like,
He's so excited
Look
about
what I found.
Then it was her mom, and then it was the main girl's mom,
Yep.
and then it was
The
the
Ooh,
well,
this-
it depends because they showed him get stabbed in the dick, but we didn't see him die right away.
You
But
know what? I just
Wait.
noticed this time that when he's killing the girl, the one that's right on the left of Sienna, you
Yeah.
see him back there kind of kicking around and holding his dick still. So
Yeah, that's what
look at
he is
Lynk,
attacked
Lynk
first.
getting the trick question right there.
That was good.
I mean, he does, but he gets attacked first, so he does die. So we'll say him, then her other best friend, then finally her.
Bam, fucking nailed it. And then she does die and then she comes back resurrected. I think for my money, the only ones that have significant roles are her two best friends. I think they're both fantastic. Like Allie's the one on the right, and I can't remember the one on the left's name, maybe Brooke. I really think they're both pretty terrific, man.
I feel like the one who died in the most brutalistic way, that's the only offering she gave the movie. Like I felt her
think
act
when she's having her little interaction with Art, it's like no candy for adults and stuff. Like that little bit of it's the only thing she gets, but I think it's really good. And she's probably
I forgot about that.
Might be the best looking person in the franchise. She's a cute young lady as well.
Yeah, she reminds me of Terry Hatcher. She looks
totally, bro.
Yeah.
For sure. The other one reminds me of somebody that I can't put my finger on either, but I think she's great.
You know who she reminds me of? Not as good looking as her, but the girl from Coyote Ugly.
I don't know Coyote Ugly. I know what it is, but I don't know it like that.
Uh,
What up, E? I don't know if I ever said what up to E. What up, brother?
Bro.
I saw you on there. I thought of you. I've been thinking of you nonstop since, but I forgot to say hi. Winnie the Pooh may become a horror icon in the future too. Get the fuck out of here, Sam.
I don't think any of those movies are gonna kick
Y'all
off.
seen that? Have y'all seen that movie?
I started to watch the first
it.
one, and I like, oh fuck this! I shut it off. But everybody says the second one is way better.
Yeah,
Like it's actually like a legit movie. The second one, so I don't know. Alex saying Art is the freakiest. I don't buy him not being sexual. Neither do I.
yeah.
Says Winnie the Pooh isn't horror. Winnie's adorable. Says Chill. Yeah. I think you did it. I think I'm pretty impressed with you.
That kind of sparked something with me. Art being sexual. I feel like he could be asexual is because the way he goes for those parts is because that's showing how he has no care for that. Like there's no subconscious care.
Right.
It's almost like look how much I don't care about those areas of the body.
This isn't a sexual thing, but it's like a misogynistic anti-woman thing. In All Hallows Eve, he's got a body and he carves on the body. Spoiler alert, he carves bitch, cunt, slut, like all these really nasty things that nasty things that are more nasty to say to a woman. And then at the end of I think part 2, did you guys see the post-credit scene in part 2? Where it's got that who's the wrestler that's in that? Jericho?
Was it? No, that wasn't.
I don't know wrestlers.
Triple H?
Is it? Is that who that is? Is Triple H?
I'm
Look,
not good with
No,
wrestlers.
it's Chris
I feel like
Jericho.
Stewart.
Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho? Oh, okay.
Anyway, before she gives birth to Art's head, she is writing those same exact words on the wall. Like whatever is written, bitch,
In her
pig,
shit.
cunt, slut, yeah, and her shit on the wall. And those that's a little bit, nasty.
You know, every one of those things reminds me of. There's so much shit everywhere. Have you guys
Oh, Dumb and Dumber 2. It's on the walls. So funny.
Right, and whose idea was it to put her on a national televised interview the day after she got out of the hospital?
That's another thing about
Have you
the
seen
lore.
your face? How did you react when you saw your face? It's like, bitch, I just got out of the hospital.
At first, I just thought oh, she went crazy because of what Art did to her. But now I don't know, because the little pale girl, we know that's one of his victims. And I don't know, there's some supernatural stuff going on, and now she's a killer. Does he go into his victims somehow? Like when he attacks them, I feel like she was controlled to do that, when I used to think she was just crazy because of what happened to her. You know what I mean?
No, I think especially because you can easily see how there's he's a mesh of something like Michael Myers, Jason, and Freddy all roll into one.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I could definitely see the idea of him being able to infect people with his evil. That's an idea that's definitely been toyed with before. Because it's at the end of the first one, it's almost like he's while he's carving or eating her face, it almost looks like he's whispering something in her ear as well. And she goes on to do all this baddie shit. So, I don't know. I do think there's something there. I don't think she was of her own will.
Right.
He was definitely influencing her. So, yeah, I think there's something there.
That's one thing I'm looking at. I look forward to seeing part 3 to see if John. It's kind of teased in this one that maybe Jonathan's going to become infected with Art's evil, and it never really happens. But it's I don't even know if he's in part 3. If there's anyone in here that's seen part 3, you think he is?
I think I didn't. I saw the trailer, but I feel like Damian Leone's one of those dudes who's gonna kind of take his same crew. You kind of got me here. I'm gonna, if you want a spot in the next one, I got you. And the kid,
right.
I remember he annoyed the fuck out of me in the first watch. It wasn't that bad this time. I don't know what it was, but he was giving me Beans vibes from Even Stevens. Use this. If you know, you know.
Alex saying she was resurrected 3 times. Talk about Sienna? Is it 3 times?
Is it that many?
I think it's just 1 time. I mean, maybe he's not talking about Sienna.
I just thought it was when she was in the tank or whatever.
Or the first time he attacked her in the dream when
he said Chill says her most powerful weapon isn't her dagger, it's her plot.
That's true. And I think he might be talking about when she first had the dream, or at the beginning when she set her room on fire or whatever, her bed, and he's shooting up the fucking show and everything, and she's sticking her hand in the cereal box, and there's all glass and shit in there. I don't know, I don't remember her dying in that scene, but that could be maybe Art killed her in the dream.
What up, Bob?
Yeah, that felt like Freddy vibes for sure.
Yeah,
appreciate you being here.
Bobby, what up, bro?
Dun, dun, dun. What did you guys think? Dun, dun, dun. Speaking of the Clown Cafe, that was the part that I hated when I first saw the movie. I was fuck this. Listen on the Clown Cafe. And he busts out the gun and he's shooting all these adults that are acting like kids. And it was 2020. I feel like there was a school shooting. There was a lot of school. There's always fucking school shootings, but there was a lot of mass shootings, even more around that time. I feel like it was even more of a relevant thing than it feels like it is right this second. But I hated it. I was oh, what the fuck are you doing? But even the second time that I watched it, I just skipped that scene. I was fuck that. I don't need this scene. It didn't bother me as much this time for whatever reason. And I even saw on some commentary, he's guns are fucking terrifying. He's so why shouldn't they be in horror movies? It's it's so, he's saying that it's in the public conscious right now to be afraid of guns. It's why not? It feels taboo though, right?
Yeah.
That scene is something nasty about it.
It's shit. My bad. I'm drunk, guys. I feel anytime there's a serious event, even we dealt with this with 9/11, it was kind of to like really talk about or showcase in shows or
Like
books.
Spider-Man, they took out the Twin Tower scene after 9/11.
And this is a side tangent, but one of those shootings happened in Michigan a few years ago, and it was at Oxford, which was like my high school rivals growing up. It was like 15 minutes down the street from where I went to high school, the city of Oxford, Michigan. But no, that's it's like it reminded me of when Jim Carrey didn't want to support Kick-Ass 2 when he was in it because he hey, that's a weird. I guess there's more gray area there, but it's like I understood where Jim Carrey was coming from because it's like guns are scary. We are desensitized to them. To like, for example, I hate to admit it, but my kid loves to like pew 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 pew. He wants to stab people and fight people and shit like that. But it's like that's bad at the end. I don't want him to grow up thinking that's fun. Like that. There's bad ramifications from stuff like that. Like guns are scary at the end of the day. So I totally get where Damian Leone is coming from. Like they should be used in horror movies.
Right. Well, Stu, let me just go to you, man. Your first time watch on this bad boy. What's your overall thoughts on it, man?
I thought it was good. It was it was I think definitely more well-rounded of a movie than one was. I just felt like it was kind of trying to do too many things at some points in the movie. You know what I mean? And it kind of got bogged down with the whole artistic legacy of her dad and all that stuff with the family. I don't know. I just felt like that could have been a little bit better structured. I like the last half of it. Like when
because that really to jump on that real quick, that really annoyed me with like the dad bit. There was a dad bit, like because there was like some expository information we got where like this best friend is telling the dude in the car about her dad. I'm like, bro, you couldn't find a better way to work that in, especially because it's such a significant thing. Like I don't know, like that annoyed me how they interlace that throughout the plot.
About just the way that we learn about it, isn't it like her
the dad in a sense? Yeah, I just felt because like she was so passionate about the shit. Like I felt like she would have like maybe looked it up herself, or it's like the way we as an audience learn about it through the best friend just telling some random fuck that
there's no like or give us a flashback memory with dad or something like that.
Something
like emotional core thing for her to like. I don't know, but the whole like blade and all that, and her resurrecting, it just didn't have any emotional. It didn't have any emotional pop to it.
I think this viewing of it was the most that I enjoyed. This is the most forgiving that I was of all that shit. But what I wanted to say,
for sure, I can.
This is funny, and I was about to question it, but I know why we didn't complain about it. We learned this. This is really funny. We learn about Sydney's mom the exact same way. She was a slut, just like her mother, just two people having a conversation, but it's done way more creatively. You have Nev Campbell in the background. It's an emotional, it's a character moment for her. So it is a little bit,
and she put a dude in jail because of it. Like her like unwillingness to believe the truth about her mom and her character, right? Like,
it's a good point. I mean, it's really a good way to look at like the quality of writing that you're getting. It's like, I mean, to me, that doesn't bother me because it's something that, it would happen. Like two people would talk about people behind their back and we're the fly on the wall. Now we get this info. But a really good writer like Wes Craven or Joshua Williamson, is that the comic book writer? Fucking Kevin Williamson. Kevin Williamson.
Like, where are we going here? We're going to get an argument.
He would spice it up. Like it's really a good way to look at like quality of writing. But sorry.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I respect that because maybe it was almost like a homage to Scream. How because obviously art's very inspired by a lot of different horror icons. But the way like I said, this didn't really appeal to or dawn upon me the first watch where it's like such a homage to 80s slashers. Him like modernizing that, I could definitely see him taking bits and pieces from horror movies he's enjoyed over the years and like putting them in there. Like you see the dad arc being kind of like a Cindy's mom arc, where it's like always through conversation that we hear about her and all this other stuff. But like you said, that boils down to great writing where him and Wes Craven was a fucking vet and Damian Leone up and comer, especially when he did too,
Well, it's even what the fuck was I gonna say? I lost it. It was pretty good. Go ahead, Stu.
How did y'all feel about the sidekick in this one? Did it work for you? Because it was like bizarre for me. I don't know. It didn't really work for me in that she wasn't really a part of any of the kills or any of that. I just don't understand what her significance was.
I think there's a lot of stuff. Just this is what I was going to say, and it kind of ties into what you're saying. Like the first time I'm watching the movie, I'm like, okay, at the end of this movie, we're going to find out that Art is Sienna's mom or something. We're going to find out fucking something. Yeah. And it's like, he's like, we'll tell you in part 3. That's one thing I'm really curious about. Like, do we have to learn more in part 3 about that? But regardless, it's incomplete. And the little pale girl kind of falls with that too, where it's like, you figure you're going to learn some shit. We do learn that she's one of his victims. We can kind of figure out, if you fucking read the internet, that she's connected to the crazy lady in part 1. But yeah, they never tie it all together at all.
It seemed like at certain points that some people could see her and other people couldn't. Like the kid, the brother could see the little pale girl, but the dude at the laundromat just saw it taken to himself, Like, so I was kind of confused as to, was it just their bloodline could see?
I think there's a connection between Sienna and Jonathan to Art the Clown through their dad. You know what I mean? I even think that Art can maybe turn himself invisible, because I don't think I don't think everyone can see him at the school when they're sitting there fucking around with that possum.
Oh, like
I feel like he wouldn't just be sitting in the school like that. I don't know. I feel like Jonathan was the only one that could see him.
Yeah.
That, man.
Again, it's just lore that doesn't get explained.
I like that.
It bother me, but it could.
I like that they do that at the end of 1 and the beginning of 2, right? They bring in the supernatural element because that gives you such freedom, storytelling wise, as far as like resurrecting this guy, keeping him alive, or making him that force of nature slasher that you want. And like, I just like that he's a different breed. You know what I mean? Like Lynk said, he's a little bit more intelligent than your average guy, and like he's using guns and he's doing this and that, and like, you never know what you're going to get from him. That's what
that's when I wrote down for a minute. I started to take notes on his characteristics, and I just didn't get far. I didn't do it. But the first one was unpredictable. Especially in the first movie, it's almost like there's no plot. I remember saying this when we reviewed it on DHS. What you're sticking around to learn is like, what is this guy like? What kind of killer is he? It's kind of like a reveal of what he does, and you slowly learn about him. Someone's like, he says, Alex, like, who the fuck is Steph? I don't know. It may or may not be the missing link. A little bit behind her. I didn't see you say this, Bobby. So when I was little, we used to play army and run around in the streets like we were shooting each other, but that was a different time. We all did. Cowboys and Indians. It's all about violence, and that's what you're doing. Even like if I see a little boy, you know what I mean? I got a nephew or something. I'm like, hey, little fucker. You know what I mean? He's gonna love it. He's gonna want to fight me. That's part of play.
Yeah, my two little men are demons themselves. Like they're
supposed to be.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm like a little like anti-guns is because of like my mom, his grandma, and his mom. But me, I always tell him like he's a little boy. Like I remember being that age and wanted to, like, I didn't turn into some violent killer shooter. I remember wanting to play with guns and play shooters and fight people. Like that's just a phase you go through as a kid. Like
totally. It's video games. What are you gonna keep him away from video games the rest of his life? Like that's
right.
Maybe, but I wouldn't. Nah. I'm not gonna. You know what I mean? Just to go back where we were earlier, talking about the possible 3 times that Sienna dies, says the long fall, the tank, and I think she gets stabbed at some point. She does die in the tank. That is a good point. She does get stabbed. The fall, when she falls down into that other fucking realm. That's what I'm saying. I really hope we get some answers and get things made a little bit more clear. The way that Damian Leone talks about it, there is there's like a force of good that is behind the sword. And the moment in the dream when Sienna goes to the cereal box and it's all nasty, there's bugs in there, there's glass, but she has the bravery to reach her hand in there and pull out God damn it, I wish I had it. The sword of Gryffindor. There we go. The moment that Art hits it with the flame is when it's like a baptism of the sword, and it's the moment that Sienna and the sword, are embedded, given the power by this good faction. Like she needed to prove herself in that dream. So I mean,
and now I'm getting like fucking Demon Day vibes too.
She sounds like magic now.
Yeah. I like that shit. Like, I like to add a fantasy element. I know I've heard him say that he listened to his criticism from part 1, and the biggest criticism was, "Hey, bro, you forgot to do the story
No
part
story.
of this movie." And he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay, I got this," and he went crazy. I assume that he listened to the criticism again, and he calmed the story down a little bit, because I mean, it's a the movie did really, really well, but that is the criticism that people are giving it. Obviously, is too much story. I know I'm excited that Robbie liked part 3, because Robbie kind of liked part 1. He hated it the first time he saw it. He kind of liked it the second time, hated part 2, and he really liked part 3. So that, to me, that says something. There's a clear improvement.
A billion. It's crazy how shit works, because I remember when Joker came out and I was just so bewildered. I was like, how is that one of the highest grossing? It's a solid movie in its own. I'm not the biggest. It's a solid movie, but I'm not behind that belief that Joker is a life-changing movie. I think it's okay. It's all right. But I just
that's like super dark. I can't watch that like I can't watch Requiem for a Dream. You know what I mean? Like that movie's
right, exactly.
That's a great example. I remember the last time I watched Requiem for a Dream, like, I don't think I can do this again anytime too soon. Alex was on it. Pretty much all the shit that I had just said, he had said that before I said it. So I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, it was a test for Sienna.
Okay. Now I really want to see the third one, because I feel like she's just going to be a complete badass. Sienna's going to be a complete fucking... Ooh, that's a good question.
Totally.
Who do you guys think is more capable, her or Sydney?
Oh, more capable. I mean, you know what I mean? It's almost like two different things, because Sienna's almost a comic book character at this point.
Yeah.
She's a superhero. Sydney's real, and they're both ballsy, or they're they're both badasses. But I still go
with Cindy,
because she's Sydney's the better actress. So you kind of got to give her. She's like stronger, like from the get go. Even when she's scared at the beginning, there's like a strength in her that I don't think the actress that plays Sienna could really pull off. D-Dog, yo, son of a bitch. What up, brother? He says, did you guys think 2 dragged out? Yes, we did.
Yeah.
I love 2, but that seems to be the main criticism. 3 was tight like a butthole. D-Dog, you son of a bitch. And still polished like 2.
I'm glad to hear that, though. I'm glad that what I'm
exactly
saying,
what I'm looking for.
Love-hate with 2 is because, like, while I love that he added so much lore that was absent in the first one, it's like at times it was like overwhelming. Like, Jesus, bro, like pace it out better.
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear that about the third one. I'm more excited.
Man. It's still 2 hours plus. I'll look it up now, but I know it's a little bit shorter.
One?
Yeah, it's 2 hours and 5 minutes. So,
that's not bad.
Yeah, this part 2 is like 2 hours and 20 minutes. Fuck it. While I'm on the screen, it's got a 6.4 on IMDb, 77 on Rotten Tomatoes, 84% Google user rating. And here's another thing I was curious about. Like, it's pretty clear from everything that Art the Clown's been in up until Terrifier 3 that there's some connection with Halloween. It's like maybe he can only exist on Halloween, just like every other movie. The barriers between the worlds are weaker on All Hallows Eve. But then I think obviously part 3 is on Christmas, so I'm kind of really curious what they'll do with the lore as far as that goes. Will they explain it in any way? But I don't know. Alex saying the little girl is the first kill ever and is a vessel to hell. In the third one, they explain the supernatural stuff through the first final girl who was a new vessel to hell. All right, that's just vague enough that I appreciate that. So we do get some more explanation, which I
hold on. So the first girl meaning her sister or the one who gets shot in the head?
I think he's talking about the little girl being like the little pale, fucking crazy looking clown chick from this one.
Okay.
I wanted to before we rate this bad boy. Let's start there. There's so many kills. Link, what was your favorite kill, bro? I'm really trying to think. There's so many. Here, I can bring this up again just to give you a freshie.
I know who I'm going for. I wish I wasn't such a basic bitch, but the fact that the best friend who gets her like arm snapped and broken off and scalped and bleached and salted and everything you can type of debauchery you can think of.
It's this thing. It's the fucking ripping apart of her fingers. That it's like, that's the butthole puckering moment. Please, God, what?
He said, Art said, I got time today.
Whoa. I'm weirding out, dude. I never knew I could do this. I'm sorry. I can't get my mouse back up over here because it's on my iPad. which is next to me. How is that a thing, dude? Oh, there we go. That is the weirdest shit ever. I didn't know I could do that. You guys ever seen that reel of the weatherman that touches his map and he's like, whoa, and he can move the map? That's how I feel right now. You know what I'm talking about? But anyway, yeah, I'm with you, Steph. I would say that's the most memorable. That's the I hesitate to say best kill, but it's if what you want in a kill is something really fucking gnarly and visceral, it's the best kill in the history of horror. Leading up to Terrifier 3, I think it's the gnarliest kill ever in a horror movie.
I mean, honorable mention to the mom when she gets shotted in the face.
Yeah.
You know, those are like the ones that really I was like, oh shit, man, that's so. Because you know, with the shotty, it was like he lingered for a second, and I'm just like, move, bitch, duck, like you know. But I mean, it didn't matter at that point, you know.
Right.
But it was.
It was a great reveal, and it was right after. This is the thing. Like we've said this before. The more you watch a movie, the more times you see a movie, the more connected to the characters you become. And like in those moments, I got slightly emotional. I'm not tearing up or anything, but when she's having that conversation with her mom, like I am totally bought in. And then she's got her face blown off right after. Like I thought that was so fucking well done. Even the reveal that he's in the car, and he's like the way he blows her head off.
And then it fucked me up when because I hated the kid in my first viewing, but this time I was like, damn, bro, he walks in and finds his mom like that. Like that's fucked up, you know, like that. I mean, that any situation like that would be terrible. But I'm like, first time I didn't care because like you annoying prick, you know. That's what you get for sticking your nose in business you had, you know. But this time I was like, damn shit, you know, like because she already went out so fucking unceremoniously. But it's
totally. Before I send it to you for your favorite kill, Stu, I just wanted to mention the start of it's known as the bedroom kill, the kill that you were just talking about, when she comes downstairs and she sees the broken glass and she sees just Art just walking around going through drawers, and then he holds up like scissors and a knife and he fucking chases after her. Like it is like, I don't know, I think he's the scariest slasher villain, like unquestionably for me. But what about you?
He takes such glee in it. My bad.
Yeah. I don't know. I just, like that one was probably the best one for me. I like the one, the cashier with his eyes still moving when he got it chopped off. That one was definitely good. The tip kill was pretty funny on some comedic. I like how he wrote it. I like how he wrote it on the window. And
they're a little bit too with snorting the cocaine, like all those little like typical slasher moment character bits that you get with young people partying. I thought were really well done. Like I dug the chemistry between those guys. I love the kill with the bald guy kill that we don't actually see. We just see Art getting all cleaned up, and then he walks out. This guy's fucking dead. Of course he is.
You know, I gotta hold up real quick. Just because there's so many people that see some ill shit with Art in this movie, and just like, man, I'm gonna overlook it. You know?
Yeah.
The fucking I was thinking like how odd it is that a fucking laundromat was open at this time of night. I was like, it's fucking dark out. Like most time the sun is set, like laundromats are closed. And then he sees him patty caking by himself, butt ass naked in blood. Thinks nothing of it. Like I'm gonna go back to sleep or some shit.
I mean, I never even thought of that. He stays sitting in the chair.
And then he ends up with the fucking broomstick in his head.
That's so funy. It looks great. Just the way the blood is gushing out, like practical effects.
You know who he reminded me of? Kmart version of Walter White, the laundromat dude. That's kind of how he. You know, it's crazy because Walter White ran his shit out of operation out of a laundromat. But the black dude, token black dude, even him, it's like you see fucking this weird ass fucking hobo clown harassing your customers, and he didn't say anything at first. Like he waited till he really had to speak up, and I'm like, such a terrible piece of shit. I mean, maybe that's me reading superhero comics for too fucking long, but it's like that's indicative of life. Like people see so much bullshit and don't speak up about it. You know, they're just kind of like, turn my head, you know, unless I have to. But there's a lot of that in this movie, you know.
That's why The Invitation is such a great movie right there. Because of what you just said. I wanted to. This is hilarious, by the way. Bobby says he can only come out to our dimension during a leap year. Fucking hysterical. Alex saying I like 3 a little bit better than 2, but I like 1 and 2 about the same. So excited for it. Again, I said at the beginning of the show, but it's worth repeating. Now, Terrifier 3 comes out video on demand November 26th, and then on physical media December 17th. and we will be covering it here the Thursday before Christmas.
So that's like a week or like 6 days from now. Like it'll be so it's coming up. It's badass.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm gonna. I'll be tempted. I hope sometimes like it's like $20 to rent the thing and $25 to buy it. I'm hoping it's like a $6 rental, and I might be tempted to just rent the thing before I buy it because I know I'm gonna buy it. I got the first two, so I'm gonna need this to get the third one.
Yeah,
renting.
I love how it's a Christmas theme too. I can't wait.
Me too.
Yeah,
it's so he looks awesome as Santa Claus.
Yeah, in the Santa suit.
So
yeah.
badass. What haven't we got to? I think we've hit.
Did you guys like the 80s? The 80s music? Did you think
you know what? I'm glad
you were trying to go like that. I thought it was going to be a full-on 80s movie there at that early on in the beginning. Like they were real heavy with the score.
Totally with the Sienna's intro scene. I love that. Like
that was
synth
dope.
wave shit there.
Yeah,
I was kind of disappointed because the first time I don't remember it standing out to me, but this time I was like, this is badass, bro. Like I dig this, like what was I gonna say? I lost it. I'll come back to it. But
I wish they would have stuck with it a little bit more throughout the movie. They kind of like I feel like it was pretty prevalent there early on, and then kind of like tapered off towards
Yep.
That just even that scene, like the intro to her, it felt like straight out of an 80s movie. Just like
it did,
right? The vibe, the montage, the editing in this one. I'm
super cool.
Curious if he edited the movie. I have a feeling that he didn't. I thought it was great. Like just even the opening bit where it's cutting back and forth from like Art killing the coroner. Actually, I can't remember exactly what it is. You see him leaving. It's all out of time, but I just remember it was really, really well done. The editing throughout
there was a
solid
scene I liked. I really liked where the best friend who got fucking brutalized, we know what I'm talking about. But when she's like talking to Sienna at the beginning, it's like at the school, and it's like I forget what they're getting into, but this conversation gets kind of serious, and there's like almost this like Wes Craven, almost like dun dun, bump bump, like back score going on with it. And I mean that's kind of what deals with the editing, but I thought that was like I dug what he was doing, what they were doing with it. Like these are a lot of things I overlooked. Like I was almost probably hate watching this the first time around. But no,
you gave it.
Oh yeah.
I didn't mention the budget on this one. The budget was $250,000, so quite a bit more, but it killed it for the movie that it was. It made $15.7 million. Wow. And then I just had it. What did I do with it? Terrifier 3 is going fucking crazy, man.
It dethroned you, bro. Like, come on. This is what I'm saying.
Dethroned what?
Well, I mean, Joker 2 didn't really hit like that.
Oh, no, yeah.
A previous $1 billion movie, this movie comes out of nowhere and fucking...
Part 3 had a budget of $2 million, and it's currently at $86 million for this fucking slasher Art the Clown thing. So it's a certified phenomenon at this point.
Yeah, that's crazy. What a jump from 15 mil for number 2 to 80 something for 3. That's incredible.
Bro, and I'm sure he was happy with the success of the second one, but the third one, like I would feel like some shit.
He's Alex saying Damian made a GoFundMe for the second. That's interesting, man. That's something I meant to look into, is how he got the financing. Thanks for that, brother, because that was cool.
I think for the first one, he tried to get a GoFundMe and failed to meet his goal and had to get.
Bobby
Brojo is a scary
brother. Yeah, Brojo is easily the scariest clown I've ever fucking met. Not even close.
That it's shit like that that makes me appreciate. It's like what I learned about the budget of the first one bolstered up the score. It's like learning that he GoFunded. He did. It's like I thought it was under the illusion that most people were trying to bankroll like horror movies while the pandemic was going on, but it's like no, he still had to really passion fund this shit. You know,
totally.
And he saw success. Like gotta respect that. It's bolstered up the second one again. Damn it.
I'm trying to look through my notes if I had anything specific I wanted to shout out. I think we've touched on most things. So let's go ahead, and of course, if you guys got anything to add it. But let's rate this bad boy, Terrifier 2. Go ahead and put your ratings out of 5 in the comments below. What you got missing, Lynk?
My first watch with this movie, I was really not impressed. Like I said, I preferred the first one. This time around, it's a little different. While I do have a love-hate relationship with the whole mythology being expanded upon, for all the good there, I think it has to do with pacing and how he interlace, giving us the information of the mythology. But I like, so it's like that could be, that's just a minor thing, you know. Like but I overall I appreciate that he went that extra mile. Like I said, it's like from Terminator 1, Terminator 2. You know, it's like two different levels.
Totally.
Better acting, better cinematography. I feel like the first movie, you know, is really hard to see some shit, even though there's some great shots. But in this one, I feel like he definitely used like a brighter color palette. You know, it was just a bright overall. Kind of ballsy to go for that. You know, like it showed you how much faith he had in his effects and what he was doing. That being said, you know, I was surprised by how much I enjoyed this my second time around. I'll give this one a 3.75. Even though he achieved like introducing art into the zeitgeist of pop culture in the first one, I feel like this is the one that made him commercially, like this is where this is what made art in the Mount Rushmore of iconic people.
But before this movie, he wasn't going to be in that conversation. Now he has to be.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like to see, I haven't seen a whole lot of artwork collages yet, but in 15 years, everyone is going to have art.
He's going to be
everywhere. Every slasher killer collage, he'll be on it.
Absolutely.
So a 3.75 from
very
Lynk.
Very enthusiastic, maybe with room to grow. 3.75.
Chills down there says we was having relationship problems when we saw this, and Terrifier 2 brought me and my old lady together. 4.69,
bro.
That is beautiful, man. You should send that. Tell Damian Leone that he's the type of guy that I think he would respond if you told him that. I swear, I was almost disappointed to see like how big the budget got, because just watching stuff with him, like, man, I want to try to get Damian Leone on. He's not that big. Was like, oh, fuck, $86 million. That's impossible.
Yeah.
Well, never.
I don't know. I feel like a humble dude though, because he saw the phenomenon.
That's why he didn't cross my mind. He just seems like a guy that if he reached out, he'd be like, yeah, fuck it. I'm not doing anything. I'm between murders. Alex says 4.25 out of 5. Created kills, great storytelling. Jonathan annoyed me, said his neck was freakishly long, but I forgave him. I added that bit. Me a bit, maybe the acting. Love the alley kill, you sick fuck. In my opinion, that kill solidifies him as a horror icon. Love the gags and the humor element. Me too. Like we talked about earlier, the candy bucket. Like, I'll just repeat myself. That bit where he does that to the little pale girl and he acts like talking about his eye being popped out. Just like the bit where the mom comes in and sees the daughter tore apart on the bed and he just thinks it's so fucking funny. Like, it's so unique. There's nobody really like it.
Let me before you give your score, let me just because I think we haven't really touched upon about how great this dude is who acts as art, you know, like the scene you just mentioned where he's at the laundromat, the girl's touching his eye and he's doing like, you know, he's such a character without having said a goddamn word in any, like, that's such a powerful thing to do, you know, like that's very understated. Like I'll give it a rare 4 just because of his performance and I'm gonna boost it up to a 4, but yeah, that scene that really stuck. I'm glad you brought that up because that had stuck out to me. I was thinking about, I was like, Doug, how do you add so much character to a character?
Yeah. Or even like when he first sees a little pale girl and he's like the way he's looking at her and she shit pisses all over the floor and he's like his reaction is perfect for it. He by the way, just to call him by name, David Howard Thornton, and he is from. Remember, during our previous review that Dylan was there and Robbie was there. I ended up looking into him, and little did we know he is from Huntsville, Alabama, which is the home of our good friend Rockin' Robbie Billups from Pop Culture Philosophers. Robbie didn't know that until I said it on the stream. He had no idea. I mean, he's done events there and shit since. I feel like
he's gonna run into him one day for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Where you at on it, Stu?
I'll go 4 out of 5, man. I thought this was a much better effort than the first one. It was definitely way too long and had some structural things wrong with it, but I thought we had better performances and a whole nother set of iconic kills. And yeah, art takes another step up onto the iconic, like Lynk said, the Rushmore. So yeah, man, I think it's a 4 out of 5 for me on this one.
Hell yeah. I feel like that's what I gave it. Actually, I'm pretty sure I remember. That's what I gave it when we reviewed it before. I could not agree more that it's too long, but I wouldn't cut a fucking second. There's something about like I really fell in love with the movie this viewing. Like it's part of it, exactly what we talked about earlier. Watching All Hallows Eve, watching Terrifier, watching Terrifier 2, and really be able to appreciate the growth of this guy. You feel, you know what I mean? You feel like you know these people, the people behind the scenes a little bit more from seeing the way that they've grown. I'm gonna give it a 4.5. Does it deserve that? Probably not. But
no respect.
The fact that its weakness is almost a strength. Like I really enjoy the whole having it be that long. There's no bits that I would cut out. For me, if there was any trimming that would be done, it's in the final act. Like it's cut out a little bit of the chase scenes just to tighten it up a little bit. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure if I had the thing and I was able to go through and cut it, we could probably cut some more. But I don't really mind it anymore. And I kind of enjoy the whole fucking ride. So a 4 from Stu and from Lynk, a 4.5 from me, 3.25 from Alex, a 4.69 because Art the Clown brought him and his old lady back together. Gotta fucking love it. So hell yeah, man. That was a fantastic one. What do we got going on coming up on the show? As we said, whoa. Seeing my internet dip. Am I good?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
That's my first and last recommendation to you, by the way.
I would just like you to know I would have seen it regardless. I have Shudder. I would have came across it, brother. I have my ear to the ground. But I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. I'm totally not bitter at all. One bit.
Join Missing Link and I this Sunday in the afternoon, probably like 1:30 Central Time. We're going to talk about, as it says here, episodes 1 through 3 of the Creep Tapes, which is a new anthology found footage horror series on Shudder that is a spinoff of Creep 1 and Creep 2 from 2014 Creep. So really excited about that. I watched the first one last night and I liked it quite a bit. There wasn't a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Did you watch it, Link?
I haven't got. No, I know. I said I was going to. I'm doing it tonight. I need something to watch. I didn't know 3 episodes were out, so that'll definitely give me something to dive into. What did I got
3
fucking
comes out
caught
tomorrow.
up. Okay, but I don't know. Not to go off on a side tangent, but I'm a big fan of I will say specifically the newest Dune movies. I loved the first one. Second one was cool, but they just had a new show come out, and I really loved it. I was rewatching the first episode again.
Yeah, it was great.
Was it great?
Yeah,
I haven't even. I for some reason I haven't even seen Dune 2 yet.
And since we're recommending random television shows, Day of the Jackal just dropped on Peacock. It's got Eddie Redmayne playing an assassin.
Show, right?
Yeah, I think like 5 or 6 episodes are out on Peacock. Y'all check it out. It's fantastic.
Okay, I was interested in that.
Day of the Jackal?
Day of the Jackal on Peacock. Yep.
Oh yeah.
You guys seen the original Jackal with Bruce Willis?
Oh yeah. They filmed that in Richmond, in my hometown. So that was a big, that was big.
I can't remember it. I feel like I should know it. I can't imagine like not knowing of a Bruce Willis movie. So
I think it was originally a 70s novel / film and then got remade and then remade again. Yeah.
Oh.
And then the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, we're going to go ahead and Link and I are going to get together. Stu's not going to be able to make it, but right before the relaunching of the Blame Fable and His Amazing Friends show. Is it still Amazing Friends?
I think so. I'm not sure I think so.
Okay. That'll be what time is it? 8:30?
That's 9:00 p.m. Eastern.
Okay. So we'll be an hour before that. I think we'll be at like 6:30 Central Time. Link and I will be getting together, talk Smile 1 and 2. So that's another one. I think Smile 2 just dropped video on demand like a couple days ago. So I really enjoyed part 4 when we watched it in 2022. So I'm really looking forward to watching part 2. I've heard nothing but good things. I'm seeing a lot of people talking it up as one of the best, if not the best horror movie of the year.
Probably. What are you talking about? Which one?
Smile 2.
Oh, Smile 2.
Yeah,
I'm curious about the first one. The first one's supposed to be really good too, right? I've never seen it.
I like it.
That's why I'm curious about this, because my first watch on Smile, I didn't hate it, but I was like, I didn't like it. By the time I seen it, like it was hyped up, and I didn't get the hype. I think my expectations were probably kind of too high.
Right.
So this was like 2 years ago. In the last 2 years, a year and a half, my taste has really changed. Terrifier, for example. So I'm curious to see how my rewatch for Smile 1 will turn out. Because when I was thinking about it, I was like, why was I wasn't sour on it, but I was very meh on it. And I couldn't really why I was so meh on it. So I'm curious for that rewatch.
I just remember thinking it was like scary. Like it was
Yeah.
entertaining, but it was actually kind of scary for a good mainstream movie. Alex saying, by the way, Dawn is my favorite kill of the series. Allie is my second. Which to you guys is better? I gotta say, Dawn, by the way, is the girl.
Chest cave.
Yeah.
Almost.
Oh,
Am I wrong? Right? Yeah. Dawn is the one that gets cut in half in part 1, and Allie is the bedroom kill in part 2. I have to lean towards part 2 just because of how much you see, how many different practical effects are used, and the salt. The salt.
Yeah, he has more fun, right? He has more
Bro, like Dawn probably went into shock and bled out very quickly. Like Allie had arm snapped or ripped off, but she was scalped and she was still clinging to life, trying to crawl away.
Yeah. Almost makes it to the phone and shit. You know what else we didn't mention about part 2? And I only noticed it this time at the beginning of the movie when he kills the coroner and he's going to leave. He starts he steals some supplies, and I never noticed it. That's when he takes that sulfuric acid that he throws into the chick's face at the end, which is it's almost reminiscent of the gun kill in part 1. But even the way it's like kind of cartoony and like Looney Toony, the way the camera pans down to Art holding the sulfuric acid behind his back. You guys remember that moment?
Yeah.
It's kind of like not part of that movie. It's so like odd stylistically.
Yeah. It's wild.
All righty, let's get the flying fuck out of here. So a 4.5 from me, a 4 from Lynk and Stu. Again, the Creep Tapes, the Creep Tapes episode, or is that what it is?
Creep Tapes, yeah.
Creep Tapes episodes 1 through 3 on Sunday, and Smile 1 through 2. What the fuck am I doing? Verno, get your shit together. Stu's got stuff he's got to say.
Yeah, Ink and Insights every Wednesday night, 9:30 Eastern. Me and E going over the newest and releases from Marvel, DC, Image, and the Indies. Come check us out. Had a great episode last night.
You did. You did.
A ton of so many good books came out this week, so it's going to be hard to pare it down next week. But yeah, man, been a busy week for your boy. Was on PCP movie night doing Back to the Future, and I'll be back again on Monday. Finish off the trilogy. And then I'm coming back to do. I think I'm coming back to do Time Cop with you guys, right? Are y'all both on Time Cop?
No, I'm not.
I'm
not doing it.
Or Street Fighter, one of those.
Oh, you know what, bro? I forgot. Yeah, I think I am on one of those. When is that?
I thought he said you both were, but I could be wrong.
I'm on some shit. I have, you know what? Robbie sent me the list months ago. I haven't looked at the movies that I picked for him in a minute. So I'm glad you said
same
that.
here.
I need to look into that.
I don't remember everything I picked. I know I picked Street Fighter and the mech. There's like Jukebox Warriors or it's some mech movie. I know those are. I know I picked more than 2, but I can only remember 2 for sure.
I don't remember anything, so I'm glad you said something. I know I picked shit, but it's been a little bit. But hell yeah, man! I appreciate all you guys. Creep Tapes on Sunday. Smile 1 and 2 next Thursday, and as soon as I find this button, we are up out this bitch. I found it. Hit the like button.